Continuing on the topic of reputation, please welcome Partha Basu, Managing Director at Ashirvad by aliaxis. Partha comes with diverse and rich experience in leadership roles like business head, CIO, CFO, and CEO. He has worked across industries ranging from Fortune 500 companies to startups. A seasoned executive with over 30 years of experience in driving business transformation, strategic financial management, and operational efficiency, Partha is also a certified professional coach and a published author. His book, Outskill, Future-Proofing Your Career in the Post-Pandemic World, was reviewed as the chicken soup for business bosses by The Telegraph. An alumna of IIM Calcutta, Partha is also the recipient of industry awards like the Best CFO Award, the Icon of CMA Award, and so on. Today, as he joins us for Spectra, he will share his insights on does reputation have a cost? Joining him on stage for a fireside chat after his keynote will be Priya Patankar, Head of Communications at PhonePe. Partha, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Spectra, for having me here. And whatever she said is the reputation I created for myself. Okay, so when this came to me, Amit spoke to me. So I was thinking, should I do it? Should I not do it? But then I thought, see, anyway, none of you know me. Okay, so if I don't do it, my reputation remains here. But if I do it, I can. But if I do it, I can learn something. Okay, so last 2 weeks I studied a lot on reputation, and that's why I'm here. But before I start, I requested Nupur to be here for 2 minutes. Nupur, I don't have a tattoo here for Tally, but my first job was because of Tally. So I'll tell you the story. I found my first CV, okay, which was 30 years back, and in the bottom is written, proficient with Lotus 123, probably some of you have not heard of it. Okay, MS Word, sorry, not MS Word, what was that? And Tally. WordStar and Tally. Okay. So the interviewer asked me, do you know Tally? I said, yes, I know Tally, and I got my job. So thank you. Okay. I'm serious about this, and that was also in Calcutta. I'm from Calcutta. Okay. That's why I thought if you stay back, you can hear this story. Okay, so now reputation, right? Now this is interesting. Now if you look at that, the subject is what is the cost of reputation? Now why this subject? This is very important, and this is how reputations are formed. Now probably some of you have seen in LinkedIn or Googled and so, or ex-finance guy. And Amit, where is Amit? Amit, are you here? Ha. And Ajit, two of them contacted me. They also must have seen the same thing. वो पहले finance में काम करते थे, ठीक है? So this is how the subject got formed, because Amit and Ajit thought this is the safest bit, that give this guy a subject on cost. Being a finance guy, he can talk on cost. Amit, am I right or wrong? Amit just vanished. है ना? Correct? So this is how reputation gets formed. Okay. Now let me go a bit forward to this one. Now for me, reputation is nothing but a mix of perception and reality. And over years, it gets formed, or it can be formed in one moment. For example, I'm here for last 2 minutes. Some opinion must be there in your mind that this guy will go this direction, that direction. So this is how reputations are formed. Now if you move further, it is about what people say when not you are around. Okay? If you see a farewell speech, everyone talks a lot about how great that guy was for last 5 years, last 15 years, how he has turned around the company. But that is not the reputation. The reputation is when you are not there and what people talk about you. So it's also the sum of our actions, behavior, and choices. Okay, for example, morning I could have wore a suit, Okay, I could have worn a t-shirt, or I could be like this. Okay, so I asked Amit that what should I wear? You know, all these little actions forms the reputation what you are going to carry. Okay, so I strongly believe in that. It is the choices you make, it's the behaviors, it's the action. Okay, and lastly, what I wrote here is that reputation is like a shadow. It follows you whether you are there or not. I strongly believe in that, that you can't be without a reputation. Okay, you have to be there, and the shadow will be there. Now, let's take two things. One is for individuals, and one is for the corporates. For the individuals, it's about the behavior, it's the body language, okay? It is the formal or informal communication and the actions. For example, we hear that some leaders, when you go to them, they actually turn off their phones, they give complete attention to you, right? You have seen some leaders like that, okay? Some leaders, they try to do 5 things together, okay? The point is that every action people take, that is how reputations are formed. For an organization or a brand, it is about the promises you make and the reality you deliver. That's the one important thing. The trust you create, the consistency, okay, and the customer experience, okay. Might be some other points, but I just picked up the 4 things. This is how reputations are formed. But that's not it. If you go further, it is also about the gossips, the hearsays, the grapevines. This is how the perceptions are formed, or the reputations are formed. And obviously, there are news and media. We don't know many people, but reading about them, we actually have an idea, or we form an idea about what is reputation. Okay? To me, these are the very, very big pillars how reputations are formed. I'll give you an example from my life. So I lived in Amsterdam for almost 12 years. I just came back to India. So when I went to Amsterdam, I had a beautiful office. And in that office, there was a glass door. Okay? Now look at my fingers. So I was there 7, 8, 10 days. And then anyone used to come and knock, I used to do like this. Okay? I used to do like this. So I was basically welcoming them. No one used to come to my room. Everyone used to go away. Okay? So this happened for 5, 6 days. And then my assistant came to me and said that you are so rude. This is not a culture you can work on. You came from India. You are so rude. I said, what happened? He said, you are doing like this. You are shooing away people. I said, no, I'm welcoming them. Okay, so, this is how reputation, the entire company thought they got a wrong leader all the way from India to Amsterdam, who is basically doesn't want to mix with everyone. And believe me, it took me almost 6 months to correct the perception, because I don't know how many people have gone away. Okay, so this is how reputations are actually formed. If you look at a personal reputation, okay, we sometimes look at people and we decide, okay, he's very angry, bab jata hai, wo chillate rehta hai, right? That's kind of stuff. He listens to us. He's a guy, he's a people's man, okay? He only talks about cost. So these are the different kind of things. If you look at this one, there can be optimistic leaders, there can be calm leaders, there can be angry leaders, there can be irritated leaders, anxious, we can keep on going. So I just put some expressions here or some moods, but this is what happens, right? Now, if you just close your eyes, I'm sure you're placing someone on your mind saying that, yeah, this guy is this, that guy is that, okay? This is how reputations are formed. If you look at a company, okay, we say, this is very expensive, okay? This talks about quality, okay? Let's take Indigo, for example. The moment you think about Indigo, we think about on-time performance, right? So if you talk about any company, it talks about service. It talks about durability. You can keep on going on, but this is how reputations are formed, and this is how customers' behaviors happens. When you think about a person or a service or a company, these are the things which actually makes a brand stand in or stand out. Okay, that is how it happens in the real world. Okay, now if I talk about my company, okay, I work for Ashirvad. How many of you heard of Ashirvad? Not Atta, huh? So any of you heard of Ashirvad pipes and fittings? Okay, so we are, thank God, because we are market leaders in Bangalore or in South. Okay, we make pipe and fittings. Okay, we have for last 27 years, and aliaxis took over Ashirvad Pipes in 2018. I took over the job 8 months back. Now, if you think about Ashirvad, something comes to your mind is about quality. Okay? Yes, we are expensive, that comes to your mind, but if you're putting a pipe for 25 years, first thing comes to your mind that 25 saal mein kharab nahi hona chahiye. Okay? That is how the perception or the reality works here. Okay? Now, again, if I go a little further, okay, and all of you are communication and specialists, so I don't have to tell you that. There are public reputations, there are private, personal reputations. Now, how do you build it? Very simple, through your media presence, through your ad, what you talk, what you stand for, right? Now, the point is that once you establish, it is not easy to revert back, because in today's world of social media and everything, it's not easy to revert back, okay? Also, this is also influenced by the work ethics, because some company you think of, you'll always say very ethical company. Because once that is formed, it remains forever. So public opinion always remains. And now personal, if you talk about, I strongly believe in personal brand. I think everyone here, all of us, is a brand by itself, and we should work on that. We'll talk about that a little later. But that is shaped up by purely personal choices, values, lifestyles, okay? And also, many a times the personal reputation or the brand comes back to your official, it influences, right? Now, these are the 4 words which is very, very important, okay? Be it personal, be it corporate, authenticity is very important, okay? Because without authenticity, a reputation cannot be built. Number 2, it has to be consistent. If you are not consistent, today you talk about X, tomorrow you talk about Y, I don't think it's going to, because people get confused on this one, right? The third is, whatever you promise, you need to deliver. Be it anything. If you talk about on-time performance, okay, it has to be there. If you talk about quality, it has to be there. If you say that I'm the cheapest in the market, it has to be there. But whatever you promise has to be delivered. Because all these 4 things, I've not written a word, but that brings trust in people's mind. And I think trust is the foundation of reputation, right? So that is, I strongly believe in that. The moment you lose trust anyway, you actually start losing reputation. Now, this is a very important one. I never thought about it before. Do reputation as a cost, okay, or a value? I think it's yes. Now, can I control the cost or value of the reputation? The point is, I think, I have no formula here. I think it's yes and no. And I'll give you some tools how to do that. Now, can you exact value? Can you put an exact value to reputation? My answer is probably not. Okay, very difficult. Now, what is my reputation value? I don't know. What is your reputation value? You don't know. Even if you go to brands, okay, we have brand values. This one. Defined or assessed, but do you really know the exact cost value? Probably not. So my point here is that there is a cost to reputation, but probably we don't know the value of it. Now, there are different polls, and all of you are familiar with this. I see quite a young crowd here. So if I go ahead, let me put all 4 here. If there are enough of survey polls, okay? Be it customers, even employees, okay? Most of the companies, we also do, employee survey. That tells us whether you're in the right path or wrong path, okay? So that really tells us what are the things we can do that, okay? When I go to, I'm a very, very, very fan of movies. I watch probably all the movies. Before going there, I think all of us today look at the star rating, right? Be it different sites. So that actually plays a huge role. Before going to a restaurant or ordering food at home, we look at the star rating, okay? 1,200 people, 4.3 rating, theek hi hoga, right? That is the first comes to our mind. That is the reputation. But do you have a cost? Yes. Can I assign a value? No. But these are very important points. We actually use it, okay? There are different social media monitoring like sentiment analysis, engagement metrics. And also for a company or for a brand, we have something called a net promoter score. So different ways to measure it. Okay, and then finally coming to something called the cost of reputation. If I go further, there are news coverages, there are press mentions, CSR, what this company is doing, for the sustainability, for the world. Those things comes back. Okay, and then I interestingly found that two sites, I have not used them, that they actually measure the cost of reputation. So I was not aware of that, so this is what also my learning which came out. So there are different methods now. Okay, and all of us are so glued to our phones or computers that every moment we actually look at that. Okay. Now, the important question is that if there is a value, where do we feel, the up and down of the value? Okay. Now, few just basic measures. Okay, probably the revenue impact. Okay, we have seen in some cases where there has been scandals, there has been, or the good news, the revenue fell of the organization. There are many, I don't want to name them, but we have seen many cases. We have seen in many cases where the brand value depleted. Okay, we also seen many cases where we lost customers because of ABCD reason. Okay, again, the trust factor comes in a big way. Okay, there can be a huge cost on crisis management. Okay, because if you don't do as a trust, the authenticity and the promise and delivery, what you spoke about, there is a cost of crisis management. We also see sometimes that there is a drop or a surge in the share prices, right? And lastly, we also see that the market share, we mostly, all the business people, we do that. We sometimes lose market shares. So these 6 metrics I thought is the closest where we can actually feel the impact. One is revenue, one is brand value, third is on the customer acquisition, fourth is on the cost of crisis management, the share prices, and the market share. I think this 6 comes very close to, when you think about managing. But few learnings which I want to share with you, okay, from my life. Okay, first of all, reputation is not just relevant to CXOs. It is relevant to everyone. Okay, if you can be a trainee, you can be a middle-level manager, you can be a top-level manager, but for everyone, reputation is important because that affects somehow the organization and your personal brand. Okay, and it starts from day one. Some of you are here, you can choose what kind of a reputation you want to build on, but once you decide that, it is very important that every level of the organization thinks about this. Number 2 is, it's a fact that all of us are watched and judged. Okay, we can't say that no judgment. Why the people are judging us? The fact of life is that every action, every moment, all of us are seen and judged. So whatever you do, you are responsible for your actions. You are responsible for your words. But it's important that watch yourself every moment. Nothing to get scared. But once you decide the path you want to take, it's very, very crucial that every level in the organization understands that they are watched. The third is, it's a great tool to build an organization and brand. Okay, because if you have a good reputation as an organization or as a leader, okay, you can actually attract great talents. I'll just tell you a small story. It happened in Bangalore. I lived in Bangalore for 10 years. So I used to work for Coca-Cola that time, and I was in Hebbal. Hebbal was not today's Hebbal. It was away from the city. Okay, so we had a depot there, and the Coca-Cola, what happens? Anyone from Pepsi, Coke here? Or any beverage industry? No one? Okay. So what happens, the truck goes in the morning, okay, it unloads the bottles and comes out in the night. There are few cashiers who take the trucks, they count that kitna case gaya, kitna case wapas hai, and then they take the cash from the driver and they go back home. This is the system, okay? We call it settlement. What is to happen is that every third day, one cashier was leaving. They don't want to work with us, okay? Coca-Cola ka naukri hai, kaam nahi karna chahta hai. I was thinking, what happened? I was a finance manager here. So I said, let me go there one night, okay? So I went with one person, and then I asked them that what happened. They spoke in Kannada, that guy translated to me. So what I realized is that from the depot to the bus stand was just 100 meters. So they finish off their work at 10 o'clock, and that 100 meters they have to walk to catch the bus to go home. Very simple. But in that road, there were hundreds, not hundreds is too much, probably tens of stray dogs. So when they used to go home, they used to come, running after them. So obviously, they're scared for life because if they bite, it's a serious issue, and no one wants to work there. Okay, so what we did is, we just told the last person who is coming, the truck guy, he said, just drop them that 100 meters. After that, attrition becomes zero. Okay? Why I tell you the story is that actually created a huge reputation of the organization that we care. Okay? It was a simple stray dog incident, but it was really scary because in the night, if someone bites you, it's a really scary one. So what I'm saying is that it's a great tool, okay, when you care for people, that you can really build a great organization. And lastly, definitely, and probably the story goes there, your personal reputation actually affects your corporate brand, okay? I want to end with the quote with one of my favorite person, Warren Buffett. I think everyone's favorite is that it takes 20 years to build a reputation, but it takes 5 minutes to ruin it, okay? So my sincere request is that understand what reputation is and build it and then protect it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Enjoyed your presentation. And thank you, Spectra team, for having me here. So Partha told me two things. One, we need to keep it real and light. And second, I need to be nice to him. So So I did make a lot of notes, sir, before I was coming here. And I would like to start with a quote, which strongly resonated with me when I was putting together my questions. This was a Henry Ford quote which said that you can't build a reputation on what you're trying to do. You have to build a reputation on what you do. So my first question to you is, you lead and represent a very reputed brand. You also have a very strong personal brand. Tell us about your reputation journey. Some stories, anecdotes, which will just help us understand how do we build a reputation.
She sent me 5 questions yesterday. This was not there, okay? Let me tell you. So, okay, so let me start with the organization reputation, right? So I work for a company which is quite reputed and known for its quality, and that's just by luck because, they chose me to be here. Okay, so this was not built by me. This is just a luck that I'm here, and I'm just to take it forward. But coming to personal thing, I must tell you a story, this one. So long back, I was in a flight from Delhi to Chicago. Okay, I used to work for Whirlpool that time. So by the time I became CFO, I was quite early to become a CFO, and I thought that CFO तो बन गया, सब लोग CFO बन जाता है, उसके बाद क्या? I was 38 that time. So let me do something different. Okay, this is how my reputation journey or personal brand, what you're talking about, started. So let me do something different, okay? My interest was on people, okay? Always, okay? Because I thought, I should have been a psychologist, but I chose finance as a line that time. So what I thought is, let me do something different. So I actually make a long list, okay? If you record, please delete it. So I started writing, actor, singer, director, blah, 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 करके लंबा list बनाया, okay? I'm serious about this. This is happening in a flight, okay? Then I started cutting it off. Actor नहीं होगा, singer नहीं होगा, lyricist नहीं होगा, blah, blah, करके. Then finally it came to that author. Now, every Bengali has a problem because they think that they can write well, okay? So this is, because of our legacy, we all think that we write very well and we think very well. This is our problem, okay? It is my problem. So what happened is, actually then I started thinking that what I can do. What I used to do is, I used to share in my any training program or internal, external, I used to share a lot of stories. So there was a guy next to me who was sitting, okay, and he told me, sir, why don't you share stories? That can be a good for books. And this is how I started writing. And to be honest, I still have not built my personal brand because it's a long way to go. But I really enjoy this because my books actually help some people. And if it helps at least one people, that's enough for me. This is how the journey started, and this is how I built it myself.
Sir, I was reading somewhere, and there was a quote which said, if I take care of my character, my reputation will take care of me. Do you think your personal, the way you behave, your character matters when it comes to building a reputation? And also for a brand, I think brands are also personified with a certain character. So do you think that matters in reputation?
100%. Absolutely 100%. Because, as a leader, you are watched, as I says, you are judged, okay? And more I'm getting convinced that everyone is watching me because 3 दिन पहले, I was walking out. So security guard told me, sir, आपका son परसों आ रहा है. I said, how do you know that my son is coming? Actually, he's coming today. He lives in London. I said, how do you know? No, sir, पता है. Okay. So that was a shock to me because that means whatever you do or whatever you say is actually watched. So your character, your words are very, very important, to build your organization. Example, in our organization, what we need, we have a fantastic quality of product. We have a huge market share. We are almost 6,500 crore company. We employ almost 6,000 people. Okay, it's quite a large company. What we lack is speed, because I realize that we have a lot of bureaucracy which has to be broken. So. And as a leader, you have to keep on changing, because one, if it works in 24, may not work in 25, may not work in 26. So I have done it now, okay, from this year, I am talking about only speed. Okay, and that will actually help a company to move the way it is, okay. Last year, I spoke about process. Now, you might say that why as a leader you change? You have to change because the need of the hour is different. So the reputation you build has to be on authenticity, has to be on promise, but the way you work might be different, because what you need today you may not need that tomorrow. So my request to all of you is that think about this. Probably the way you approach a problem today might be different tomorrow. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, so from what I understood, the leader and the organization has to walk the talk.
Correct.
And if you're changing, you're pivoting, your processes, the way you work has to start reflecting that.
And the talk can be different with every year or every period might be.
Got it. Women in the audience, have you heard of a brand called Elizabeth Arden? Okay.
One second, we also heard.
And men in the audience, yeah. So this is an enduring brand. I think my mother used it. I'll use it. Generational brand. And Elizabeth Arden once said that repetition builds reputation, and reputation brings customers. So what do you think of it? Is there a trade-off between doing things a certain way and newness? I mean, reputation also means things get boring. Is there a trade-off? What do you see that as?
So obviously, absolutely, I agree with that. I want to add something. Reputation obviously builds reputation. But one thing, if Amit is there, he will enjoy it here. I always talk about art of repetition, okay? Because you have to keep on repeating what you want to communicate. Because if you have a teenage son or a daughter, you will realize you have to keep on repeating, or even a young boy or even an older guy. Even to me, my wife has to repeat every time that, put your shoe in the right place. So this is the art of repetition, and to build reputation is definitely that art of repetition is very important. So I fully agree with that. But keep on repeating, because once you say, it may not, because you are talking about large organization. I'm talking about 6,000 people. If I have to communicate to the last person, I have to keep on repeating. There is no respite to that. So as a leader, I fully agree to the quote, but also the art of repetition is very important.
Do you think sometimes we are burdened by the cost of our reputation? Is there a certain way we are expected to behave? Is it stifling occasionally when it comes to your personal or professional life? Honestly, I am a parent to a 20-year-old, and when you said about continuously repeating, I am the bad guy in the house all the time. the thank God she's gone mother. So I know exactly what you're saying. But do you think sometimes our reputations take over so much of our lives that it is stifling both in our personal and professional? We are perceived a certain way. What do you think of that?
I don't think so. Why? Because if you want to fake something, then you have to be careful. But if you genuinely do that, okay, which is, so if the character comes into you, you know, and you genuinely behave the way, or genuinely conduct yourself the way you are, why should be the botheration? Because if you are honest, okay, if your integrity is, absolutely unquestionable, if you deliver, if you promise and deliver on time, if it happens every time, it is just a day-to-day life. So for me, it is not a botheration, but if you want to be someone else, then it's a problem, okay? So I certainly believe it is not a botheration for, at least for me. That's why I strongly believe in that.
I think we have 5 minutes. Maybe any audience questions? If none, I have one for you on your writing process, but we can get to that later. Any audience questions, please?
Hi sir, my name is Animesh and I'm from Manipal Institute of Communication, Mahe Manipal. So my question to you more is on an organizational level. So basically I want to ask that, is there any way an organization can manage reputation in real time rather than like waiting for a crisis to happen? Is there any way we can like know the forecast of it or something of that sort?
So answer is definitely yes, and that's what you should do. Because no one should wait for a crisis to manage any reputation. Because reputation is not built out of crisis. Reputation is built on your day-to-day activity. So for any organization or for individuals, whatever you do on a day-to-day basis is how your reputation gets. If a crisis happens, you manage the crisis. But your reputation is something, it has to happen on a day-to-day basis. For example, I was talking about speed, okay? Now, or say, let's talk about quality, okay? Ashirvad is known for quality. Now, that has to be every day. Every product, every pipe, every fitting comes out, the quality has to be excellent. Because the moment you start dropping it and let the customer complain and I'm going to manage it, that is not the way you can work. So my thinking is that it is a day-to-day process. It's a regular day-to-day cover. Like you get up in the morning, you brush your teeth and you go to the office. The same way, reputation will be managed by itself if you do the right things, if you're authentic, if you keep your promises. That's all. Just do what is right. Reputation will follow.
So just a follow-up question: is there anything more than like sentiment analysis or like word cloud generation? What we do in predicting all the crises, and moreover, how can like we basically try to understand what is happening in the organization?
So your question is probably mixed, okay?
Yeah.
So let me break it up, the time is short. So first of all, we talk about crisis management, right? Or knowing where the crisis comes. That comes from the governance. If you have the right process and right governance, you will know what is going wrong. Okay, that's a very simple one. Second one I forgot. So the first one is very important, that put the processes in place, put the governance in place, put the review mechanism in place. You will automatically know whether there's crisis or not. If there's a fire, okay, probably, that's a different discussion. But you do everything else, okay, preemptively, so that the fire doesn't exist. After that also things happens. But point is that the governance and the review mechanism is absolutely critical to run a process.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions?
One more.
Hi, Rahul here. I'm part of Swiffy Labs. We are a geo company. Just taking the thought forward about the Warren Buffett quote that you mentioned, my pointed question is examples. Boardroom conversations are not limited to the boardroom anymore in this day and age. An employee town hall can make its way to the media. The 90-hour work that's supposed to stay indoors gets out. Toxic work culture at a grocery firm gets onto Reddit. These are tough times to maintain reputation than to build it. So my simpler question to you is, in times like this, would you agree that it's difficult to maintain reputation? Takes a lot more work to maintain it rather than build it? And how do you get this down to the last person standing in the org? That's my question. Thank you.
So I don't think it's difficult. Okay, why? Because if you do what you believe or what your organization believes, it is definitely not difficult. Okay, Number two, yes, I do town halls. It get leaked, obviously. First thing is happens, it goes to the competition. I know that. Okay, so you have to be very careful what you want to communicate and how you want to communicate. So as leaders, we are learning every day, but we are very careful. For example, I'm talking to 6,000 people. Should I give my sales numbers? Probably not. Okay, but should I give them an indication of growth? Definitely yes. Okay, so we have to be careful what we speak about that. But I agree with you with the current scenarios. Okay, I don't say it's difficult, but we have to be mindful of how because what we say, a lot of the 6,000 people, let me put in mind, they really take it as very seriously. So every time you talk about culture, talk about how you want to build the organization, I think I keep it very positive. So let me put it in this way, and that really is helping me to build the organization.
Lastly, I just add, would you agree that we people, communicators, are a lot more important today than we ever were? Would you advocate it among your closer circle?
Boss, today is 30th of month. Okay, my month end is tomorrow. I have to still sell 30% of this month's target. If I'm here, obviously you're important.
Good answer. I hope you advocate this in your circle as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. Otherwise, I will not be here. Very simple.
Thank you so much.
My mind is there. Kitna billing hua? Good. You had some questions, ma'am. Yeah.
So I know Ashirvad is a very well-known brand, among the customers and the segments in which you operate, and that's because, of course, as you say, you're doing all the right things and you're investing in the quality and all of that. So the reputation that you have already built, right? How does one manage that, the reputation, both to different customers, to different stakeholders? So for example, you have probably focused a lot on talking to the people and managing your reputation to the people who are important to your business. And how important is that then to cascade to a wider general public? And how do you go about doing that? Because then you have a lot of great stories, but you probably need to tell them to a larger public, like people who don't know about you.
Got it. Okay, so let's take few segments. For example, plumbers are very important for us. Okay, and plumbers, they think about quality and the ease of putting. So 2 pipes comes in, how to fit it. So we keep on talking, and the quality. So we keep on showing them videos where they understand the quality. I'm just breaking it down. Okay, our employees, what they need growth, they need trust. They need empowerment. So we ensure, and obviously the quality. So we ensure that they keep on getting it, because empowerment is a very big thing for me. Okay. Now, if you talk about the general customers, we show them films, or we communicate saying that we are number one and so on and so forth. So different segments has different ways of communicating. It is not that one size fits all. Okay. But overall, what we strongly believe in that, I do a very simple metrics. I think all of you do that. Stop doing, start doing, do differently. Okay. So there are a lot of things we put and start doing, but we don't put a lot of stuff most of the time in stop doing. So I ensure that some things comes there so that we stop, because time is finite. We don't have enough time. So I ensure very clearly that we stop doing few things, and whatever we're doing well, we keep on doing more. So that is my philosophy of running the company.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being nice to me.
Enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you, take care.
Thank you, Partha, for your time and insights today. I request Priya to please present him with a Sparkle gift card.
Thank you.
We'll just take a picture.